I had been with the company for 4 years. Marketing department. Not the star, not the loudest, but reliable, quiet, always on time, always delivering. My name's Rachel. I'm 34. I never raised my voice in meetings. I didn't interrupt people. And sometimes, honestly, I think people forgot I was even there. But my work, it spoke for me. My manager, David, once told me, "You're like the invisible engine that keeps this place running." But then, things changed. They hired someone new. Her name was Sophie, early 30s, confident. Walked into the office like she owned the floor. She was sharp, charming, and had a way of talking that made people feel like they mattered, even if they didn't. On her first day, she smiled and said, "I'm all about results." I remember thinking, here we go. But I was kind. I showed her how we ran our campaigns, walked her through our CRM, introduced her to the unwritten rules of the department. The first 2 weeks, smooth. Then, things started feeling off. I noticed my name missing from reports, ideas I had shared privately with her. She repeated them in meetings and took full credit. David started praising her more. Meanwhile, I became invisible. Again. Then one morning, I was at the printer waiting for my document. Mixed in with my pages was a printed email. The subject line caught my eye. Sophie on Rachel's performance. The first line: "I've noticed Rachel struggles with deadlines. She lacks leadership qualities and often needs hand-holding." My name, my reputation, being dragged through the mud by someone I helped. I froze. My first instinct was to march to Sophie's desk and confront her, but I didn't. Instead, I began collecting evidence. Every report I submitted, I BCC'd to my personal email, time-stamped, organized. I kept records of who said what in meetings. Started recording audio clips on my phone, just enough to prove how Sophie took my ideas and rebranded them as her own. I didn't tell anyone, not even my husband. But at night, I cried. I stared at my ceiling, wondering how this became my life. One Friday, David called me into his office. Casually, he asked, "Is everything okay with Sophie? Any concerns?" I hesitated. Everything in me wanted to scream yes, but I said, "Nope, all good," because I wasn't ready, not yet. 3 months later, a huge launch was announced. Our biggest product of the year, multi-million-dollar campaign, company-wide eyes on this project. And guess who got chosen to lead? Sophie. I was assigned as her support, the person in the background. Again. That night, I couldn't eat. I walked outside and sat in my car for 2 hours, just breathing. I thought about quitting, about starting over, but then something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to let this end like this, not without fighting. So, I stayed up that night, and the next night, and the next. I built a timeline, emails, memos, meeting summaries, voice clips, screenshots, task ownership logs. I turned it into a full case. The night before Sophie's big presentation, I printed everything, labeled it, highlighted key dates, created a summary sheet at the front. Then walked into David's office. I didn't speak much, just said, "Please review this before tomorrow. Then decide what's fair." I left the folder on his desk and walked out. The next morning, Sophie didn't show up. The presentation was reassigned. To me. I didn't ask questions. The day after, an internal announcement was made. "Sophie is no longer with the company." Effective immediately. And me? I was named head of strategy the following week. On my first day as department head, the team waited for some kind of big speech. I stood in front of them and simply said, "From now on, credit goes where credit is due." That was it. No fanfare, no gloating. I learned something through all this. Silence isn't weakness, it's patience. And sometimes, it's strategy. So to anyone out there feeling overlooked, undervalued, replaced, you don't have to be the loudest voice in the room. You just need to know when to speak and make it count.